Hi Bogota, it's me, Jamie. Let's talk about this past Halloween 2023. Thanks to the combined efforts of the Bogota Police Department, the Bogota Rescue Squad, and the Bogota DPW, the borough of Bogota was able to close Larch Ave from 3:30 to 7 to celebrate Halloween. Teaneck also closed Larch Ave south of Cedar Lane, meaning Larch was closed from Cedar Lane to Main Street. I myself walked up to the Larch Ave event with my family and had a wonderful time. Since a large portion of the town was essentially at the same place at the same time, I was able to reconnect with a few people I went to high school with, as well as some other folks that I've just known as a consequence of being a third generation Bogotian. We came during the early rounds and had a wonderful time, and we would have stayed longer, but our kid is essentially still a baby, so we headed home around 5. We did decide to pop back up the hill to pick up dinner on Main Street, and we whipped through an even bigger crowd after sunset. As far as I could tell, everyone at the event had a wonderful time. A look at some of the various Bogota Facebook pages tells a more nuanced story. I myself live on Lynn, the very last block before Bogota turns to Teaneck, where reputedly no one has ever ventured to trick-or-treat, which makes sense, you'd have to cross River Road. But having grown up on the Bixby side of town, I'm more used to the sort of trick-or-treating you see in the movie E.T. There's a 40-year-old reference for you. Some people reported that they felt kind of left out. They missed the old days of the kids trick-or-treating in all the neighborhoods all over town. I also saw some residents on Larch saying some weeks beforehand that they hoped the borough would provide candy, and I have no idea how that all works with the residents on Larch in terms of candy and street closure and so forth. Like, do they get a vote? I don't know. But I did see a note that the police and the rescue squad provided candy to a resident who had run out, and the BPD mentioned in their October 20th announcement post that they were taking donations of candy to supplement residents. And generally, it's just easy to understand that if your street or any street near your home is going to be closed for 5 hours during rush hour, this is going to present an inconvenience. And it didn't escape residents' attention that pedestrians weren't exactly on their best behavior when crossing Main Street to get to the fun. I imagine that due to the large crowds, the police probably couldn't spare officers to manage what suddenly became a bustling intersection at Larch and Main, as I'm sure maintaining order in the overwhelming crowds and making sure no one ran the barricades was first priority. There were about 9 barricades by my count, and the Teaneck police put out a statement that they took one individual into custody, so this was not an easy night for anybody on duty. Some other folks closer to the Bixby side of town said they had the most trick-or-treaters they'd had in years. And similarly, other people said they decided to skip the Larch event altogether, and they concentrate on trick-or-treating in their own neighborhoods. Some said the Larch event is just too overwhelming for them. Some parents remarked that the Larch event is a real relief for them, because it's difficult to tell who's home, who's participating in trick-or-treating, and when you have small children who insist on trick-or-treating, but they have tiny little baby legs and aren't necessarily up to the steep Bogota hills, this can just be a tough night for any parent, guardian, and kids alike. Back when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, Halloween decorations were commercially available, but barely. My uncle made this dummy that he hung from a tree. It was great. But now you can walk into a pharmacy and buy a talking animatronic and have it on your front lawn shouting boo at your neighbors in minutes. There is never going to be a solution to any situation that is going to be perfect for everyone. Closing Larch obviously didn't divert all trick-or-treating to Larch, and that probably wasn't the goal. Once Teaneck decided that they were going to close their side of Larch, you could argue it forced Bogota's hand. And if we stop closing Larch, it's probably not going to restore the trick-or-treating that we remember from decades past, simply because we live in a totally new era. For my first Halloween at Bixby, I probably wore one of those smock costumes with the cheap plastic mask held in place with the thinnest rubber band producible. Now people have these incredible blow-up costumes. You saw them. They're amazing. There might be specific things we can try to make Halloween more manageable for everybody, but it might turn into the sort of thing where we overmanage the situation. Maybe we could do something like a trick-or-treating map like we do for the town-wide garage sale that the band manages. Maybe we could just kind of come up with our own Bogota policy that if you put out decorations, you're giving out candy, and if you don't put out decorations, you're not giving out candy. I don't know. It's Halloween is different, the world is different, so we'll just have to keep adjusting and doing the very best we can to give everybody the most fun in the safest way possible.